In 1942, DeSoto would offer an all-new body design. Streamlined, sleek, with hidden headlights. DeSoto was the second car built in America after the 1936 and 1937 Accord to have hidden headlamps in the States offered in numbers. It's just a pity they did not offer this front-end design after the war. But before getting into all of it, I'm your host Jay. Welcome to What It's Like. This automotive channel features the weird and obscure cars that you never heard of or possibly forgot about. We dive in deep with the history, specs, design, and at the end of each episode, which a lot of people don't make it to, there is a slow motion walk around so you can see these cars like you've never saw them before, up close, all of the detail, which really helps those putting these cars back together, what the trim looks like and where it goes. We post between 4 and 5 episodes a week with engine episodes sprinkled in. We also do company overviews. If any of that sounds of interest to you, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. 1942 DeSoto model lineup was broken down into one model offered in 2 different trim levels. The S-10 was the model, which could be had in deluxe or custom, but it's worth mentioning that DeSoto offered 2 wheelbase configurations. They offered the 121.5-inch wheelbase chassis, which everything rode on, and then they offered a special wheelbase chassis, which was 139.5 inches, which was reserved for the long wheelbase cars for 4-door, 7-passenger sedan, and limousine. They also offered a 4-door California taxi cab that was 7 passengers that was built on that chassis. DeSoto S-10 Deluxe could be had in such bodies included but not limited to 2-door business coupe, 2-door business coupe 5-passenger, 2-door sedan 5-passenger, 5-passenger 4-door sedan, 5-passenger town sedan, and 2-door deluxe convertible coupe. A specially trimmed DeSoto was driven around the country promoting the sales of USA war bonds. DeSoto production would halt on February 9th of 1942 at the direction of President Roosevelt to shift to build war machines to fight in World War II. That's why 42 anything is rare. It was only half a year. The model year went from September of 1941 to February of 1942. DeSoto would introduce an all-new streamlined body in 1942 with airfoil headlights, which were operated by a lever under the dash, which would open both headlights as well as turn the lights on, which is super interesting because the Accord 810, 812 that came before it, you had to crank each individual headlight as well as turn it on. The Corvette that comes out in 1963, the Stingray, it's kind of the same thing. It has a 2-step procedure to get the headlights to actually turn on, whereas DeSoto does everything for you. When you bought these cars, you just bought the car. All of the options were extra, and options included but not limited to white wall tires, outside rear view mirrors, radio, heater, cigar lighter, external sun visor, fluid drive transmission, turn signals. But there were 2 big options offered this year. One was the cigarette steering wheel, where the center of the steering wheel flips up and can be loaded with your choice of cigarettes. There is a plunger beneath. Pull the plunger and a cigarette comes out the top. Also, DeSoto began dabbling in offering air conditioning in cars. The unit would be divided, some of it would be under the hood, but the big AC unit would be in the trunk. The cold air would blow from the back, coming out of the parcel shelf in the rear. 1942 did see a bit of a design change, so let's compare 1941 on top, 1942 on the bottom. Starting in the front, just look at the front fascia between these 2, completely different. The 41 does not have hidden headlights like the 42 does. Both have that waterfall grille, but they're done completely differently. Bumpers are also different. Hood mascot is also different. It lights up on the 42 DeSoto. Fenders are different because the 42 has the hole cutouts for the headlight doors, for the hidden headlamps. The 41 has big bezeled headlights with marker lights on the fenders. The 42 also has what DeSoto called concealed running boards, whereas the 41 doesn't have running boards at all. I honestly couldn't wait to do this comparison because I wanted to see if they changed the fenders or if they just put holes where the doors would go for the headlights. And these fenders are completely different. The 41 fenders are more circular in profile with the wheel opening than the 42s are. The 42s are more oval. Both cars have split windshields. Both cars have trim in just about the same places. Moving to the rear quarter section, gas filler location is on the driver's side for both of these cars. The brake lights go from vertical to horizontal on the 42. Bumper profile is also different between these two. Here is a better look at the wheel opening situation. As you can see, it's more rounded on the 41 versus more ovaled on the 42. Jumping inside to take a quick gander at the dash and interior situation, which both are very similar but different in their own ways. Which one do you like better? Let's talk specs. It rides a wheelbase of 121.5 inches. It weighs 3,385 pounds. Price, $1,103, which would be equivalent to you spending $21,640.39 in the year 2025. Total 1942 DeSoto was 24,771 units, placing DeSoto 14th in industry sales for 1942. DeSoto 6 would see a slight bore increase, bringing overall displacement to 236.7. Cubic inch displacement inline flathead 6 called the Power Master, 3.8 liters. It was good for 115 horsepower at 3,800 RPM, 190 pound-feet or 257 newton meters at 1,600 RPM. Bore of 3.4375 inches and a stroke of 4.25 inches. Compression was 6.6 to 1. 4 main bearings, solid valve lifters. Built of cast iron, back to a 3-speed manual transmission. Hypoid rear axle with 3.9 to 1 final gear ratio. 4-wheel hydraulic brakes and safety rim wheels. I found this absolutely stunning, very rare, never ever see these. 1942 DeSoto with the hidden headlamps at the Gilmore Auto Museum out in Hickory Corners, Michigan. If you've never been there, let me tell you, it's 90 acres. They got like 400 cars on display at any given time. They have multiple buildings, some of which are set up like old showrooms. Like they got a Lincoln showroom, they got a Franklin showroom, they got a Model A showroom, they got a Cadillac showroom. They got vintage electric cars and vintage steam cars. 4 hours of operation, directions. To get the full scoop on the Gilmore Auto Museum, be sure to click the link below after the show. Here's one you don't see every day or ever. Let's talk styling. Got turn signal indicators there. Waterfall grille that goes the whole way across. It protrudes here in the center, going up towards the DeSoto crest and DeSoto. And now let's cover the obvious. Hidden headlamps. And look, the rectangular openings. Both sides. The bumpers have a lot going on. Look at how that comes up and then dissipates. It's got overriders and or bumperettes. There's also an apron down here to cover up how the bumper is bracketed to the car. Also notice all the lines and detail in that apron design. So look at all those lines. It's a Flying Lady mascot. It looks like plastic or Bakelite. Very faint center line going back towards the split windshield with windshield wipers that come together. There is a cowl vent there. Fenders are just rolled. The wheel opening is more of an oval shape. Check out this bright trim, and it wraps around and then dissipates. This car does have rocker trim. Also, look at how that flares out. Not a running board though. Check out these fenders. Deluxe. There's a cowl vent, the windshield wipers that come together. Notice the windshield creeps out just ever so slight. Comes to a peak there. Line at the top of the roof. Full steel roof. Drip rails that start right here and they run the cabin of the car. Antenna is mounted right there, and side mirror is mounted to the door itself. Got this trim that comes off the hood and then goes across both doors, and a piece at the back. The rear fender profile looks very similar to the front fender profile, but they're different. Rolled. The fenders are rolled. So look at how far that bumper comes back around. Totally different bumper in the back than the front. The rear has the DeSoto script in the center. Overriders and or bumperettes. There's also an apron back here, but this apron doesn't have the textured effect that the front one had. Brake lights. Fluid drive. Brake light in center. So this one's got 3 brake lights. And another brake light over there. On the positive side, solid construction, high quality, relatively affordable, hidden headlamp allure. And that really sets this car apart. Because with the regular headlights, these cars are just kind of eh. With the headlights being concealed, it gives this car a very menacing look. And it's like the whole draw to this car. Interesting steering wheel option, as well as air conditioning. And it has decent power for a flathead 6. Against it, very ordinary except for the concealed headlights. Hard to find now, and can be pricey if you do. Now it's time for Would You Rather, 2 scenarios today, and these are a bit different, but which one would you rather have? A 1940 fully loaded supercharged 6 Sharknose Graham, or 1942 DeSoto S-10, or 1941 Nash Ambassador 6. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. On to the second scenario, money no object, but which one would you rather have? 1936 Cord 810 or 1942 DeSoto S-10 or 1941 Chrysler Thunderbolt, which was a concept car that Chrysler built. They even made a few for ultra-rich celebrities, but not in significant numbers. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to give all 3, the name of the band, song title, and the lyric that comes next. First person to do all 3 correctly will have their comment pinned to the top of the comment section. She could close her eyes. Tried to do the best impression of his voice that I could possibly do without sounding ridiculous. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming out and watching this one. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. Or you can always send me an email at what_it's_like@yahoo.com. Thanks again for everything that you guys bring in the comment section. Until next time, toodaloo! If you've made it this far, welcome to the after show. This part of the video doesn't have sound or commentary, but it gives you the opportunity to see this car up close like you've never saw it before. Enjoy. The tempo for Name That Tune was wrong. I'm going to take another swing at it. Try not to sound ridiculous. She could close her eyes.